Everybody, and welcome to another fantastic PSv3 training. I say fantastic because today is going to be fantastic. Kurt's going to go over a lot of cool things we've been working on over the last week, and show you some results of some of the things that he's been testing and tweaking on with some of his own sites, and lots of really good stuff coming up. So I'm going to keep this intro kind of short. I've already kind of welcomed everybody that's been chatting with me over the last few minutes. We're going to try to start these things off a little more like 5 past the hour rather than 10, just to get going here. All right, so without further ado, Mr. Hurt, can you hear me?
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Todd.
All right, no problem. Take it away.
All right, guys, I'm going to start, first of all, with something that Todd and I are extremely proud of. I posted a poll here on February 21st asking people to vote on their favorite features of V3. And you guys already know that we kind of have two sides to V3. We have the app where you come in to essentially manage everything, but then we also have the plugin side. Each one of those has a whole set of features. So I kind of listed the main categories of each one of them and then asked you guys to vote. And we kind of were assuming that the WP management was going to be pretty far up there on the top. WP management features of V3 are they're just awesome with the tagging and the filtering and the bulk plugins and all the great shit that's in there. But the one surprise that I personally got was the #1 by far was our schema builder. And the reason that I'm so proud of that is because when we first put the V3 schema builder out, I know there was a lot of confusion on how to use it. It operated a lot differently than what you guys were used to with V2. So we really had to spend a lot of time teaching you guys and showing you guys how it works, because I think a lot of you guys feel the same way as I do about it, was that once you kind of understood the fundamentals of how it worked, you'd realize how good it actually is, and how amazing of a feature is. And that's I mean, that whole sentiment is kind of reflected in the voting that you guys give. It became the #1 rated feature of Project Supremacy V3 by quite a bit. So we're really proud of that, because we had to do a lot of work and a lot of training to get people using it and understanding it. But it's paid off huge, and this is a result of that. So I just wanted to start off by showing you guys that. And if anybody on the webinar wants to go ahead and go add their opinion to this, and you don't have to be swayed by me, pumping up the schema builder, just really be honest with this, because this is super helpful to Todd and I when we go to redo that sales copy to talk about the things that people love the most. So I'll leave that link here in the chat box for you guys, into that Facebook group and into that post specifically, and you can go add your opinion. So I'm going to start there, and then what I'll do, I already kind of created the notes for the webinar. The updates and the improvements that have come out in the last couple updates to the plugin. I believe we're on 0.48 now as the most recent version. Let me just go double check that just to make sure I did. Yeah, it's 0.48. So guys, once again, make sure you're updating your plugin. There's always new stuff and really good updates that are happening with PSv3. So 3.0.48 is the newest version. There is another one coming tomorrow with a lot more updates, hopefully tomorrow. But the one that's out in 3.48 is the PS SEO box was updated. And it was a small update, but it's an important one. I know people have been asking for it. I know Paul Folks, especially if you're on the webinar, I know you've been asking for this. So we went ahead and just did that. But the other thing that we added to it, and I'll show it to you. So we updated the titles and description length, but we also added support for both desktop and mobile, because Google actually allows a different amount of characters for your titles and descriptions on desktop versus mobile. They're actually a little bit different. So I'll just go ahead and show you that. If we go into this page here, for instance, we're gonna reference this page a little later on with other stuff. But down here in the PS SEO box, okay, you'll notice now that right here, guys, is our title length is now updated to 70 characters on desktop devices and 300 characters for your description. Now, that doesn't mean that Google's always going to display a max of 300 characters. I read a lot of information, where sometimes they'll go up to 325 or sometimes they'll truncate it with the ... But on an average from, I think it was Moz data, on an average, they're finding that, 300 characters is the kind of limit that you should be keeping in mind. On mobile, it's 120 characters. So that's quite a big difference, but we do have the mobile and the title counts now. So just keep those in mind when you're doing your titles and your descriptions. The other thing that I'll kind of quickly say, just because it kind of wasn't really mentioned before, but this site's built with Divi, and I used to really recommend Divi. I kind of like the builder, but then we had issues. Divi has something called webhooks, where if you're typing in certain letters into your description or your title, little Divi things would pop up. But if you can see me typing here in the description, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I can now type absolutely anything, and the webhooks aren't going to fire anymore. So for all you Divi builders out there, because I know there's still a lot of you, those are now gone. Okay, those are fixed. We fixed it. Divi, we did reach out to Divi, and they weren't very helpful. So the guys on the dev team did a lot of work to get that fixed up. So anybody that's still using Yoast for titles and descriptions because you're stuck with Divi and you want to use Divi, that issue is now fixed. So you can choose to use the PS SEO if you wish. And it's easy enough to transfer everything over. Just to show you guys, if I open the dashboard here for PSv3 and we go to the migration tab, if you have Yoast activated, it will know that, and then there'll be a button to just migrate all your Yoast titles, descriptions, and settings into Project Supremacy v3. It's one button, it moves it over. When you do that, guys, I recommend you, if you do want to do it, and when you do it, I recommend you migrate your Yoast stuff over to v3. You deactivate Yoast and you leave it sit. Don't delete it, but just deactivate it so that all your data is still saved there. And then watch what happens over the next 3 or 4 days with the SERPs and stuff like that. Hopefully nothing should change. You shouldn't lose rankings. You shouldn't change titles and descriptions and stuff like that. But if it does, at least you'll be able to revert back to Yoast simply by reactivating it, and then you can go in and troubleshoot what the issue is. So wanted to show you that. The other thing that I do want to make a mention of that is coming for our PS SEO box, we have a lot of items in there, right? We have our robots, we have our open graph, our schema assigner, and then we have notes and scripts. This button on off controls everything all at once. So if you turn this off, none of this will be available to you. Now that's a problem. We don't want it that way. We want to have it individually. So we're actually going to move this on off button in the next few updates so that it's supporting each individual thing on its own. So if you want to turn off, maybe robots and scripts or something like that, you can. But personally, guys, you guys know I'm a huge fan of v3, not just as the developer, but as an actual user. This thing does so much that, I mean, it really is replacing 4 or 5 plugins with one plugin. So I definitely recommend you guys trying it, using it, seeing how you like it, because I really think that you will love everything about it. One thing I also want to mention about scripts. So what scripts are is just any script that you want to put in the header code of your page, right? Like JavaScript stuff. So things like retargeting pixels, or just there's all kinds of scripts, right? And it is specifically for JavaScript as well. I do believe actually I use it for a PHP redirect script on a couple sites too. But this is for a per page item, right? So if you only want a certain script to show up on a certain page, you'd post it here. And then we do have a text box for do not render global scripts. What that is if we go back to v3 SEO settings, actually, okay, if you want to have site-wide scripts, so if you want that script to appear on every page of your site, so for me, obviously, Facebook pixel code is one of them, you would put it here. This is global scripts, meaning that every page, every post, every custom post type of your site will include this script in the header code, okay? But if you want to be page specific, you would use the PS SEO scripts box, and then choose whether you also want to render the global scripts or not. Okay, so for instance, if I have a global script for just a Facebook visitor in my pixel code, but on my page, I wanted it to be like a conversion pixel, but not the visitor pixel, I would put in the conversion pixel here and not render the global script. Okay. What else do we got here? So that's an update that's already out. Coming soon, hopefully in the next update probably tomorrow, hopefully. 301 redirects, auto 301 redirects on or off. So right now, when we go and we change a URL, okay, if you change this URL to something else, or if you're in the project planner and you update a URL, V3 automatically created a 301 redirect for you. And the reason we did that is because if you guys build a bunch of links to this page, right, and then you go ahead and you change the URL without setting up a 301 redirect, you lose all that valuable link juice. It's wasting resources on your PBNs and your link building tasks. It's just a waste. So what we did is we created an auto 301 redirect where when you change this URL, it sets up automatically. Now where you access those, okay, is if you go to PSv3 SEO settings and then you click on the redirects tab, and you can see there's a whole bunch of redirects here. But then some people are like, well, you know, I'd rather have the choice of that being a feature that's on or off or not. So that's coming in the next update where you can actually turn the auto 301 redirect off and not have that happen. But if you want it on, I find it very, very useful for those reasons, but you'll now have the choice. The next one is, and this one you won't understand it yet until I go through the content today, or maybe you will, but when we're in our dashboard and we're on a website, okay, and we're collecting reviews and shit like that, they're coming into a queue, right, where we have to basically say, yes, we want to use that review, or no, we don't want to use that review. Okay, it's these right here. And if you want to edit them, you can open it up, okay, and go into your reviews box. Okay, and this is getting an update right now, so that's why they're not showing. But it used to go into a queue, but we created a new system called ratings where people are going to be able to rate your content without leaving a review. And I'm going to go over that today. But you'll be able to turn those on so that they approve automatically. And this is going to become especially useful when people are just giving you a star rating, but not a written review, because I've been testing that and I was like, oh man, it sucks to go in and approve each individual one. So that'll make more sense a little bit later when I go over the new feature. And then we're improving the efficiency of our search for per page schema by URL or ID. So what I mean there, okay, is in the schema setting, when you're on a per page schema and you want to add a certain schema to a certain page, we have a search function where really what you're searching for is the H1 tag of your site, right? Like basically, if I go over here and I go to my pages, okay, these are H1 tags. Okay, so let me go into one of this and I'll show you in more detail. Okay, this a lot of people think is a post title, and it is by default, but with PSv3 installed, it becomes the H1 tag, and you control the actual title over here. But this is what we used to have as the only way to search for assigning schemas. You'd have to search for the H1 tag or the post title, whatever you want to call it. But now we're going to support post and page IDs, okay, where you'll be able to put in the post or page ID and it'll find the page for you. Meaning right here, guys, you see where it says post equals 362 in the URL? The post ID for this particular post is 362. So you'll be able to just type in 362 and it'll show, like right here, you'd be able to type in 362 and that post would come up. And we're also going to support the URL where you can actually put in the URL of the page that you want to assign schema to. You can type in the HTTP, URL here, and then it'll pop up. Just makes it easier to find the page that you want to assign schema to, because I know a lot of people have sites with tons of pages, tons of posts, but they, searching by H1 tag is kind of a pain in the ass. So we're adding all kinds of efficiency improvements to that search. And then an improvement on the managed website reviews, which is basically this guy. That's, like I said, being worked on. This is getting a whole new redesign. You guys will see that soon. It's going to just be prettier and more efficient and more effective. So those are the updates and improvements that are out, and then the coming soons. And I'm sure there's a whole shit ton more that I haven't really mentioned, but those are probably a couple more updates out, not on the next update. All right, let me just grab a drink of water here. So what I want to go over, and I see you guys asking a bunch of questions here, and I will get to questions towards the end, but what I want to go over today, guys, is the biggest new feature, and I guess I should have had this up here. I'm kind of a fool here. New ratings only schema type, right? So let me show you. I'll show you the result first, and then I'll show you how to achieve the result of this. So if I go to Google, okay, I know this is a weird search query and no one would ever search this, but I just wanted it to come up. So here's my site, guys, and you're seeing the ratings, and it's kind of normal, right? It's like, oh yeah, star ratings, whatever, no big deal, right? But here's why it's a big deal. Typically, if I do a different search, let me go over here and do what's the other one I always show? Oh yeah. Let me show you the difference. Okay, so Big Club Network review, I wrote a post, okay, and you can see here where it shows the star ratings. The rating is 5 based on 9 votes. But notice this one's a little bit differently, and it says rating 70.3% based on 5 votes, okay? The difference here is this is a review rating, right? And I really want to stress this many, many times. A review is when someone comes to your post or your page on your site and they actually type out a review. I think this sucked, or I think this was great. And then they give it some stars and they give it a written review and they submit it. That's a review, okay? A rating is different, okay? So you can see this is rating, this is review. So now let's take a look at what it looks like, and then I'll show you guys how to achieve it. So this is just a post on my blog. You can see I'm in the blog here, and it's just a simple post on a subject called how to buy Ripple, right? And up here at the top, we see this, users have rated this article 70% awesome. And then all it is, instead of being able to fill in some, written reviews, we're just saying, look, I just want to give this a rating of 1 to 5 stars, right? So I can pop that in there and you'll see this change. Thank you for leaving your rating. Okay, and then if I refresh, actually I got to approve it first. Let me go approve that. So it's still showing 70% awesome. And notice, okay, on Google, oh, I lost it. Whatever, it shows the exact same thing. Okay, it actually shows something like 70.3% or whatever it's average in the rating. But if I go and approve those, let me go over to my dashboard. Okay, here we go. Okay, so those are the 2. I'm going to approve both of those. Bing, bing. Okay, and now we go back to the page. If those are approved in the queue, this will change automatically. Okay, they're just, I guess they're in the queue right now, so that hasn't changed. But this will happen automatically. This will be updated automatically for you. Now, why is this so great? Why is this awesome? Why is it an important update? You guys have the ability now by implementing this system to go out on your blogs, your money sites, anything that you're blogging with, or you're writing articles, you're writing blog posts, or say you're putting a recipe on your site, or one for me, because I'm a guitar player, is when you put up guitar tabs or any piece of content, okay, on your blog, and you want to give users the ability to rate that content, and you want to supply an aggregate rating in Google, you could do that now. So it's kind of like we have the reviews for the written shit, and then we have a rating for just article type stuff, okay? And this is a kind of new feature. But the benefit of ratings only, guys, is now that if you are bloggers and you're having content, recipes, guitar tabs, whatever the piece of content is, you can now get an aggregate rating showing up in the Google SERPs based on content. And this is just huge because we all know that CTR in Google increases your ranking. So the more people that's like, when you get a review in Google, let's just do it. How to buy, there's my weird ass search. Okay, when you're the only one with stars, okay, and more people start clicking on your ad, that app actually helps you with rankings. So you guys should now be using this for just regular blog posts and articles and shit like that, so that you could take advantage of the aggregate rating on content like articles, blog posts, and shit like that. And it's really, really easy to do. Okay, so that's kind of the benefit of this new rating system. So now let's go through how we build it and how we assign it and shit like that. So what I did is I think I talked about this even on the last webinar. What it all came from was how to learn guitar. Okay, and it was this guy right here. Okay, how to play guitar, and we saw the 83%. So we went ahead and built the same feature into ours. One thing actually I want to show you guys that I noticed as well, and another reason you should be doing this as well. Let me change this search, okay? I have how to learn guitar. I'm going to switch it to what they actually have in their title, how to play guitar. And if it shows what it was last time when I did this, you'll be pretty impressed. I am. Okay, see this? This is called a rich snippet, guys. So they get, when you do the exact search for what's in their title, and this is usually based on a question and answer type search, that these rich snippets will show up. When someone asks a question to Google and you have a page marked up with schema that answers the question, you can end up with a rich snippet in Google. And these things, guys, dominate the clicks in Google. Like typically the result number one will get around 50%. These dominate the shit out of that because they're big and awesome and beautiful. And how did this guy get this? Why did he get this? It's simple, because he has an article-based schema type with an aggregate rating on it, and he ended up with a rich snippet, but he also still ended up with the real result in Google as well. So this is part of the reason why you guys should really be taking advantage of these type of schemas. Okay, so that's kind of where it came from. Now, how I built it, okay, is very, very simple. I literally copied the schema. I said, well, if he's getting these results, I literally want to copy what he's doing, right? So I went to his URL. Okay, all I did was grab the actual URL where I know the schema exists. Okay, and then I went to go build the schema in Project Supremacy v3. So I go to schema. Okay, I go to this new feature that was released, I think 3 or 4 updates ago, called the duplicator, and I click this button and it says, okay, what schema do you want to duplicate? Well, I want to duplicate the schema from this URL because I like the results that they're getting in Google, and I want the same shit for my site, right? So let's just call this, you're going to give it a name. We're going to call it article play guitar. Okay, call it whatever you want, doesn't matter. Okay, and then you can choose where to save it. Okay, obviously I saved that to a guitar site before, but literally you'll know where you want that schema to go and you'll know what site to put it on. Okay, I'm going to just save it to our miscellaneous folder for now because I'm going to talk about that as well in a little bit. So then I'm going to run the duplicator, okay, and it's super fast. Okay, it obviously found schema. What's the schema type it found? Article. If it found 2 types of schemas, it would list all the types of schemas it found. So just select the ones you want and then click proceed, and boom, it's already done, right? It duplicated that schema from that site that fast. Now all you have to do, okay, is go over, okay, there it is, article play guitar. Don't worry about article with ratings, but the article play guitar is the schema that it found, and it literally pulls in all their schema in the correct format with the correct nesting perfectly, right? So this is for building schema. Now, all you would have to do, okay, is click on each of the items and replace what they use. So you guys know that when you click on the blue box, it loads the schema type that you're working on, right? And then you can hide the stuff that isn't used. We always load every property of the schema type that you're working on. So for this instance, we're working on article schema. It loads every property of article schema, but we only want to see the shit that they used to start, right? So we click the hide empty schemas, and there you go. There's all the data that they filled in for their site. Now, you want to use it on your site. So what you're going to have to go through, and what you're going to have to go do, is go through all the schemas and change the information from their schema to your schema, the shit that's relevant for your site, not theirs, because you might be using this for a recipe site. So having a description of how to play guitar isn't really going to make sense, but we pull in their schema and their entries so that you guys can see exactly what's going on. And all you have to do to make it personalized to your sites is go in, hide the shit that isn't used, and change over the data, and then save it, and then assign it. I'll go over that in a second. Now, the other cool thing about this, guys, is when you've seen the schema that they've done, you've seen the results that they got, you've copied their schema, you've put in your own personal information, you could take it a step farther now, right? We know that this is the shit they use, but look at this. If I unhide it, we still have all these other properties that you guys can use to improve upon the schema. For instance, article body. They didn't include the article body, so all you'd have to do is paste your entire article, right, and save it. And now you have article body included in already good schema. You can actually easily improve on the schema that you already know is getting a result that you definitely want. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys all that. This duplicator is fantastic, okay? One note about the duplicator, guys. Sometimes you will see rich snippets or results in Google, and you won't be able to clone them. The reason why is PSv3 only works on a JSON LD format of schema. It does not work on microdata, okay, which is another form of schema. It only works on JSON LD. And the reason we did that is because JSON LD, by Google's own admission, is their preferred format for building schema. Okay, they do support microdata, but they prefer JSON LD. So if you guys pull in something and it says I didn't find anything, then it's likely it's because it's in another format. And it's also easy to check what format it's in simply by running it to the Google structured data testing tool. So I'll just give you an example of that. So I'm going to send this to Google. And this is a little Chrome extension I got, guys, called structured data testing tool, where I'm able to just like click the button and send it to Google, and it opens it up and loads it for me in the structured data testing tool. It's a really cool little add-on. So the way to check if it's JSON or not is load the schema that they have, click on the first type, okay, and it highlights it for you. You can see down here, it highlighted the article type, and then just look up a little bit further, okay, and there it is right there, type equals application LD JSON. So you're sure that it's JSON and LD, whereas this little view action schema, I don't believe is, yeah, there you go. Okay, that's microdata. That's the difference. It doesn't say, it's not contained within a script tag for JSON LD. So that's how you can easily tell the difference. Okay, so kind of getting back to where we were, that's how you build and clone the schema when you see a result that you like. Okay, let me get back over here. So now, let me just refresh this. Once your schema is built, let me close tabs, I get lost a little bit too. Once your schema is built, right, and you've got all your stuff saved the way you want it, all your information, and maybe you've added on new schemas and you've improved on it or whatever, now you have to assign the schema to the page that you want to work on, right? So for this one, we're going to use the How to Make Money with Bitcoin. You can see here it is. Here's the article. The same, you can see it's the same schema. I use the exact same schema. I don't even think I replaced the data yet, to be honest. I was wanting to be quick. Let me go see. Let me load person. Whoops. Continue without saving. Yeah, I still have like their actual schema and their actual information, but I implemented it. I assigned it. So let me show you how I did that. Let me go over to the websites. Okay, and the site that I did that for is How to Make Money with Bitcoin. Okay, if I go into the manage website for that and I go over to schemas, okay, and then I go over to my per page schema and I look at how to buy Ripple. Okay, that's the page it was on. Okay, there it is. There's my article schema. To assign it, all I had to do was this. I drag that over. Very, very simple to assign schema. I choose the location that I want to assign the schema. These are all the saved schemas that I have for How to Make Money with Bitcoin. And then I just drag it over and boom, it's in there. Okay, but there's still one last step that we have to do. Oh, and before I get to that last step, there's one more thing I want to make sure I cover with you guys, and that's the aggregate rating setup. Okay, because we improved that as well. And I'm seeing some posts where people are saying they're getting errors, and I bet it's because they watched my last video where I said to use zeros in your aggregate rating. So we improved on that. So let me load that up and show you. This is an important thing. So article aggregate rating, okay. The correct setup now, if you're going to use like the review box or the aggregate rating box, and you want your aggregate rating to actually be real, meaning you want it to actually be based on the reviews and ratings that people are leaving on your website, okay, like shit like this. So like basically natural reviews, this setting, if you have this turned on, which I think you should, it's the most responsible way to do schema. What that means is that all you have to do is supply the aggregate rating schema, but as people start leaving the reviews, like a score of 5 or a score of 4 or whatever, it'll build the actual average of the aggregate ratings for you. You want to have that turned off. But to set that up, initially in that one video I shot, I told you guys to use like best rating, rating count, review count, and shit like that. But it's all changed now. Okay, we made it very, very simple. All you have to do now is two pieces of schema. Assign what you want to be the best rating. Assign what you want to be the worst rating. Okay, so best and worst rating are the only 2 that you need. Project Supremacy will take care of the rest for you, like the review count, the rating count, and stuff like that. Okay, whereas before I said these 3 right here: rating count, rating value, and review count. Before I said to set all these to 0, and now that's causing issues for some people because they don't have reviews or they haven't approved the reviews on their page, and that's still going to happen, and I'll cover that in a little bit more in detail. But to make this whole speech simple, guys, when you're building aggregate rating because you want actual reviews to populate your aggregate rating, just come in here, set your best rating, set your worst rating, and that's it. Project Supremacy will take care of the rest for you. Okay, so now back to we've built this, where we cloned the schema, we changed the information to our own, we assigned that schema to the page that we want to use it on. Okay, we set up our aggregate rating the proper way, but the last step is we want to input the code on our page or our post that actually allows the people to leave the rating, right? So basically, this little box, right? You want to implement this little box on your page, this guy right here. Oh, there we go, it updated. You guys must be leaving reviews. So now we have to implement this, okay? Now, where we're going to do that, guys, how we're going to do that is a short code, okay? And I'll show you it in the page. Let me go to the edit post. The reason we're going to use short codes, now this kind of gets into a bigger, longer explanation. Typically, for me on this website, I have, if I go to the home page, I have the widget to collect reviews on my sidebar, okay? So like real reviews. What did you think of this article, or what did you think of this page? And then they leave their name, they leave a review. Oh, sorry, let me mute this. Hate that autoplay video. So typically I have this on my sidebar where I allow people to leave reviews, right, on every page. But I don't want to have both on a single page, right? It just maybe could get confusing. So you can see I have both of it here. So what I would do on the page, guys, is I would use the plugin, or I would go to the widget to hide the review box on that specific page. So if I go over to appearance widgets, okay, step 1's hide. If you're using the review widget or something like that, you have to hide it on the page where you want the rating. Okay, so here it is right here, display the review widget to collect reviews. Okay, and then what I have is in the display type, hide on selected pages. Where to buy Ripple should be in there somewhere, and I have it checked off. Okay, can't see it right now. Whatever, I can't see it right now, but I hide it on that page so that on that specific page, okay, the widget hides itself, but the review display box is displayed. Now, how I display it is with a short code. Okay, so let's go back. Sorry, I'm moving really fast. Yeah, sorry, my English, I'm not using perfect English or class. Sometimes I say shit I don't mean. Hopefully you understand what I mean. Let me go back to short codes. So Supremacy v3. And what I'm doing right now, just to remind you, because I'm kind of hopping all over the place, is I'm going to assign the short code that's going to allow us to collect ratings. Okay. Reviews. Short codes. Okay. So here we go. We have 2 short codes, guys. One is used to display the review widget, and the other one is used to display the reviews. Okay. The one we're going to use is this guy right here. Okay. PRS review widgets. And the format that we're going to use, or the option that we're going to use, is a stars only mode. If this is set to 0, okay, we have 2 options: 0 off, 1 on. If you set stars only mode to 1 in your short code, so you can see as an example right here, the short code has stars only mode set to 1. That's going to turn off the review part of things, where they're adding their name and their actual review and their email or whatever, and it turns it to stars only mode. So I copied this short code, okay, and you can see I pasted it to the top of my page. Okay, widget pop-up mode I turned off, the stars only mode I turned on, and alpha mode I turned off. Okay, do you guys want to see what pop-up mode and alpha mode do? Is anybody curious about those? Give me a 1 if you want to see those. I'll demo those. Yeah, I'll cover that in a sec too, Kath. Okay, so let's take a look at what it looks like right now. Okay, with the settings that I got. Well, I guess it looks like that. So how I have it right now. Okay, pop-up mode is off, stars only mode is on, alpha mode is off. Okay, and what that does is it turns it into something like this. It's not a pop-up, it's actually there. You can just see it. Okay, so let me show you pop-up mode. I'm going to turn pop-up mode on in the short code. Okay, and now when I refresh this page, okay, see where it says, what do you think of this article? When I click on it, it pops up, right? So it's just a space saver. And we're going to turn this into a button or a text option as well. So, because some people don't just want text. Right now we have it as just text, but we're going to have a little button that you can control the text on the button and say, leave us a review, and then they click it and this pops up. Okay, so that's all pop-up mode is. Turns it into a pop-up. So let me turn that off. Okay, and now let's show you what alpha mode is. I'm going to turn that on. Okay. So remember, pop-up mode is now off, but alpha mode is now on. Anybody notice the difference of alpha mode? It's pretty subtle, but yeah, that's right, Bruce. Okay. This comes back to design. Okay, let me turn it back off, and I'll open this in a new page to show you what it looks like so that we can see side by side. Okay, I'm going to turn alpha mode back off. I'm going to update that, and then we'll show you side by sides. So remember, this is alpha mode on. Now I'm going to refresh the page because alpha mode is back off, and just show you the difference. It is pretty subtle. Okay, see how I got the orange border with the kind of gray background and shit like that? And then over here, it blends right in to the site, right? Now, what alpha mode is, guys, is it strips out the design that you supply and just makes it completely transparent so it blends in with your blog. Okay, and you might be asking, well, where do we design this shit? And it all comes into this customizations, right? You guys know that this is an example of what you're going to put on your site with either the widget or the short code. And you can do a lot of things with this, right? You can change labels, like for instance, okay, I'm going to change things over here, but watch over on the right side. Above, see, I can change that to above, or I can change it as beside, or I can change it as placeholders within. And then if I go over to the design settings, okay, I can change, notice it's got the orange background, and over here, it's got the orange background. It's mimicking the design that I'm setting up with the options in my customization tabs in reviews. I can make this look any way I want. Okay, I can change the text color, the star color, the button color, the background, the border color, everything. Okay, I can make it do whatever I want. Now, alpha mode, okay, strips all the design options and makes it just blend into your blog perfectly. And it's not hugely important. It's just for you design freaks out there that need full-on control of how this shit looks and operates. Okay. And then Bruce, does pop-up or alpha make a difference for SEO rank? No, it doesn't. That won't affect it all. That's just all CSS. It's literally design, okay, elements. I just want to show you guys the options that you have. So that's it, guys. That's really all I had to do to assign it. So to kind of sum it all back up, guys, how did I get Google to show a rating review or a rating only, like 70% on 5 votes? Okay, how did I get them to do that? It's simple. I copied over that schema from that other site that had it. And now you guys really, if you wanted to, could copy it from this URL. You could do whatever you want. Basically, I copied that review from my article. I used article schema because that's what they were using. Input my own information, even though I didn't actually do that. You should do that. Put in your own information. Assign that schema to the page or post that you want it on, and then add the short code for and turn on stars only mode to add that to your blog posts and pages. And then voila, once you've done all that, now your blog posts and pages can have a nice big huge star ratings and stand out amongst everything else in Google. Does everybody get that? Did I explain that good enough? Give me a 1 if you got it. Give me a 2 if you're confused as shit. Sweet. 1.2. Let me cover some other things in reviews here. Okay. We have a lot of options. Okay. And it's really to give you guys options. Let me explain these buttons. Okay. These are in your customized. So if you go to Project Supremacy V3 reviews, and this is in your blog. Okay. We're in the plugin right now. And you go to reviews and you go to customize. This is where you can start setting up how your review collection and review display look and operate. Okay, so we have a bunch of options. Per page reviews, okay? This is turned on for me. Why? Because I have a blog with a bunch of different pages where I'm rating and reviewing a bunch of different things. So when I'm collecting reviews or ratings on this specific page, I only want those reviews or ratings to apply to this specific page. Okay, and how I do that is I turn on per page reviews. I want the reviews and the ratings that are submitted on this particular page to stick to this particular page. I don't want them showing anywhere else on my site. However, as an alternative, guys, what you can do is turn this off, okay? And now what happens if you turn it off, no matter where on your site you're collecting reviews or ratings, when you use the display widget, it displays everything from every page on one spot. Now, what's a scenario where you could use that? Maybe you have a local business site, okay, that offers a bunch of different services or whatever, and you have an aggregate rating for that company, okay, and you have, what you would do is set up a reviews page to display the reviews, but no matter where someone submits a review, no matter what service or what page of your site they're submitting a review, on your reviews page, you display the reviews using, you know, either the PRS display, review display, or you can use the widget. Personally, I like putting shit. I like collecting reviews in a widget and displaying them on a page. Shortcodes are for displaying them on a page. Widgets are for displaying or collecting on a sidebar. But what you would do in that scenario is create a reviews page and then display all the reviews that are collected across all the pages on a single page that's called reviews, right? So you could do it that way. That's what per page reviews. And remember, guys, we have these little tool tips, okay, that teach you everything. And remember that these are global settings. This is saying I want everything to operate in this manner. Whereas if you want specific things to operate in a specific manner, you can use shortcodes, okay, and control all the same options using these options. Just read them to be able to control them. Now, natural reviews. In Google, okay, we have a rating of 70.3% over 5 votes. Okay, that's the latest update that Google's got. When they crawled this page last, this is what the rating was. Okay, so let's do this. Let me show you how that's already changed, because you can see now it's 79%. So let's send this to the Google tool and see what it says now that it seems that there's more ratings. So let's just run this. Come on, be faster, Google. Okay, there's our article schema, okay? And our aggregate rating, you can see, is now at a 70. We have 7 ratings now, and our rating value is 78.79. Why is Google showing the old one? Well, because the reviews just came in and they haven't crawled it yet, right? So what's happening there, guys, and the reason I'm talking about this is because in our settings, let me find the tab. Okay, we're using natural reviews. So what this means, when natural reviews is turned on, the aggregate rating score is built based on the actual reviews that are coming in, okay, as people are submitting them. It's meaning it's real. People are actually submitting it, okay? If you turn it off, okay, if I turn this off, then what you're basically saying is, no, I want to tell Google what star rating value to display, right? And in that scenario, what you would have to do when you're building schema, okay, and we have an example of this. This guy, okay, this is a SerpTech, a mass page build site, okay? So here's my aggregate rating for that site where I have it forced to every single page, okay? In that site, I have it turned off, and I'm telling Google, I want my rating to be 4.6 based on 30 votes, okay? So in that particular site, this asbestoslaw.pro, okay, if I look at every page, notice how rating is 4.6 based on 28 votes. Okay, because I forced it across every page. What's going on there is I have natural reviews turned off, and in my schema, I've told it what to display. That's spammy schema building. Okay, it works. I mean, last time I checked, anyways, it was still working. Let's do a search in Google for that one. Okay, there I am, top 3 for asbestos lawyers, Pennsylvania, with schema showing as a 4.628. Broke all the rules on schema, did all the spammy shit, and I guarantee you, if I had webmaster tools on this, I'd have a spammy structured data error message in my console. I would, but it still works. Okay, so I'm just showing you guys the options that you have. Okay, so that's what natural reviews is for. Button pop-up mode, I already showed you guys that. Okay, that creates, instead of showing this, it creates a button. Okay, so that it pops up. The widget ratings mode is the same thing as the stars only mode in the shortcode, but you want it site-wide. Okay, you only want to collect the stars instead of the reviews. Preventing multiple reviews just stops people from submitting too many reviews too quickly. And then the alpha widget mode, you guys saw that. It strips all the design. So look, I'll turn this on. Okay, it strips all the design out and just makes it transparent. See that? Okay, but remember, be very careful, guys. These are global settings and will apply, if you're using a widget, will apply to every place that you used a widget. If you want to control each individual widget, set up your design the way you want it. Okay, turn alpha widget or whatever, just have your settings the way you want it. And then each individual one that you want to change, you can go and do different things on the widget. Sorry, the shortcode. I got to be very specific. Use the shortcode instead, and then use these options for the shortcode. Okay, because each of the shortcode has all the options that the global settings has as well, but it allows you to do things on a per page or per post basis. Okay, does that make sense, everyone? Hopefully. I know it's a lot of options, but now the other thing, okay, so design is for collecting reviews, guys. This design tab, that's there's basically two things. We have one, we have to collect reviews. Then two, we have to display reviews, right? So there's different shortcodes for each of those things, and widgets as well. So the shortcode for collecting reviews is this one, and the shortcode for displaying reviews is this one. And for the widget, our widget options, if I go to appearance widgets, you'll see we have two widgets as well for sidebar reviews. One is to collect widgets, and one is to collect reviews and ratings, okay, and one is to display reviews and ratings. Okay, there's always two. Now in our editor, our designer, let me get back there. We have two different scenarios. Okay, so there's our design for collecting, but now we have two different scenarios for displaying reviews. One is for written reviews. Okay, when you guys are collecting actual reviews where people write shit, you go to reviews, and that's where you can change, you know, this is my heading. Okay, you can see there's the heading. This is where you can control what your reviews display looks like. And on this one, ratings, this is where you can control what your displayed ratings look like. Okay, so that's all your different options. And there's descriptions and everything for everything. Make sure you're reading stuff. But hopefully with this webinar, it makes things a little bit more clear. Covered all that. Okay, saving schema templates. In our schema builder, and I'll come back to questions about all that in a second, guys. In our schema builder, we have this thing called templates, right? And with local business, and the idea when we built this was that we were going to go out and build a bunch of nice schema templates for you guys so that you could just, you know, grab them and go. But really, the duplicator has become a much more effective use of that, because you're actually copying the schema rather than building it and saving it as a template. But we can still do this, and that's why in my miscellaneous tab, you guys saw that I had two articles. One was article with play guitar. That's the one we just built. But the other one was this article with ratings. They're literally the same schema that I pulled in, but I wanted to show you guys this for your own reference. If you see something you really love, now I know a lot of you are going to go out there and build this same article-based schema for a lot of your blog posts and pages. And when you're going to do things multiple times, it helps to have a default setting saved. Okay, and here's what I want you guys to do, and here's how you do that. That article one's great, okay? So you run the duplicator, okay, for that URL, and you save it to your miscellaneous folder, okay, and there it is. Then what you go through and do right away is you go in and do, like I said, you change all of your items to like a default item setting. So let me show you. I've already done this for you guys. Okay, the URL in this image object, I have it as a domain with a link to the image.jpg. And then in my person one, I saved it as, you know, Herc Magnus instead of whatever. In my organization, when I load this, okay, you want the name of the article and the URL of the item that you're displaying. Go through and do all that, and then just save it in your miscellaneous folder now. And here's why, guys. Let's say I had another article on how to make money with Bitcoin that I want to put that same schema on. Let me show you how fast it can be, okay, once you have that saved. How to speed up your XP wallet sync, okay? So let's put article schema on this site, or on this page, or post, I should say. It's a blog post, okay? So what I'll do is go back to my schema builder, okay? And I'll load up my default schema. Okay, article with ratings. I'm going to click on it to load it. There it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to name the article that I want to put it on. I'm going to change the name of it. So ours is going to be XP Wallet Sync. So I'll just call it that, something nice and short like that. XP Wallet Sync, right? And I'm going to save it to how to make money with Bitcoin, right? So my template, it disappeared. I'm going to have to get them to fix that. If we save a new schema, it stays. But that was the intention, is to have the template stay there, but it's now moved over to here. Okay, there's my XP Wallet Sync schema. Now I just go in, change all the data, make it relevant to that post, and then assign it to that post using just the duplicate function. Actually, that's what I forgot to do. Let me do this. It's good for you guys to see how I work within here anyways, because there's a whole bunch of cool shit. Here's my XP Wallet Sync schema. I'll load that back up. Boink. And I'm going to rename it back to article rating. And I'm going to resave it back into my miscellaneous folder. And I'll show you what the mistake I made. Okay, there. Now that gets moved back up there. Okay, there it is back there, article ratings. So this is my default schema. What I forgot to do, guys, is do this first. Duplicate it. Okay, there's the duplication of it. Article ratings number 1. Now I'm going to load that because it's a duplicate. That's what I'll do. Speed up XP sync and save that to how to make money with Bitcoin. There, dum-dum. So there we go. Now our default one is still there, and our new one is now speed up XP sync. Here I come in I change all the information, I go to my assigner and I sign it over. Does that make sense, everyone? Sorry to screw you over a little bit there with the explanation. Yeah, duplicate it first, and then it always remains in your miscellaneous. And the reason I'm showing you guys this is because I want you guys to be able to execute rebuilds of good schemas to other pages extremely quickly. Okay, and that's why we built the duplicate feature. Duplicate your schema, save it to the place you want to go save it to, change the information over that's relevant to your blog post or page, and then assign it, and then go add the shortcode so that you can collect the reviews. Okay, that's it, guys. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and read all the questions that were posted, and then I'll do an open Q&A. Okay, let me scroll back up. Okay, Rick, we have been struggling with a problem for the last 2 weeks. Basically, you have 17 pages that are the same type, but each contains a different article. So we originally used the duplicator to copy the schema we did for the article 1 and then pasted it into the article 2 and changed specific details, but we found when we changed the values in article 2, it also changed them in article 1. That sounds like an assignment problem, Rick. If you didn't assign the specific schema to the specific page and you go and change it, it might screw it up. If you want me to take a look in more detail, submit a chat ticket and then I can take a look. But what it sounds like is just an issue of assigning the right schema to the right page. That's why naming your schemas is properly is really, really helpful. Like for instance, you know, this is my article schema. I name it how to buy XRP so that I know it's going to that page. And then I name this one speed up XPS sync so that when I go to assign it, I know it's going to that specific page. The other thing you could do, and this is totally up to you guys, is assign it by page IDs really if you want. So like for instance, if I open up this ID, or sorry, this post, I know that this is post 1002, okay? This is my how to speed up my XP wallet sync post. And this 1002 post ID is complete 100% unique to this post and this post only. Okay, so what I could do is name this, you know, 1002. Okay. So 1002. So now when I go to my, go to assign shit, let's go to my, okay, when I go to my schema assignment, okay, and I go to my per page schema, I know, like, remember, we're building in the post ID thing where I'll be able to type in 1102 and that will come up. Okay, but I'll know that this 1102 name schema goes to page or post ID 1102. Hopefully that helps, Rick. Send me a support ticket though if that's not cool. Mike, can you do a quick demo on schema setup if I can't download PSv3 on their website? Can you do a quick demo on schema setup if you can't download? I think you mean if you can't, how do you do schema for a website if you can't put the plugin on the website? Like, how do I assign schema on a basically an HTML site or a Squarespace site or anything like that? And that's pretty simple, Mike. The schema builder, you come and you still build the schema the same way, right? So like, let's just use that article schema that we built as an example, okay? So here's how to buy XRP schema, and then all its children, okay? So all you have to do is go to the parent schema, load it up, and then click render schema, and it'll show you the entire schema that you built. Then you just copy this entire code, copy it, and paste that into the header tag of your HTML, right? Because you know that all HTML articles start with a beginning HTML tag, they end with an ending HTML tag, and then you have two sections. You have head, right? And then you have body. So your header tag is where you would paste your schema code. And then your body typically is, you know, it's the actual thing that people see. Okay, and the head is shit that Google sees. Right, your scripts and your meta tags and stuff like that. So this is where you would paste your JSON LD, Mike. Hopefully that. And let me know, does that answer your question, Mike? Okay, perfect. Keith, you've not been able to attend webinars. In a previous webinar, you said that you were creating a single page where all webinars will be in-house. How do I get that link? It is in the email I sent today as well. I created a link to this page. Here's all the webinars replays. And this is where today's will go to. So let me post that link into the chat box for you guys. Okay, that's where all the replays for PSv3 webinars go. Herc, what's the best advice to remove pre-existing local business schema spread over all the pages and posts of WordPress? This is created from local SEO Yoast that Yoast has and is not going away. Disable Yoast. Use import Yoast settings to PSv3. Christos, import your Yoast settings using Project Supremacy v3. Might as well show this. Go to v3. Go to dashboard in your plugin. Go to the migrate tab, and you'll see Yoast migration. Migrate everything from Yoast over into PSv3, and then disable Yoast. Once you have Yoast disabled, all Yoast schema will disappear. We don't copy Yoast schema over because Yoast doesn't use JSON LD. Does that answer your question, Christos? Hopefully you're still listening. If I don't hear back, I'll just move on. That's fine. Christos, another question. As a result, Google shows local business as double in the structured data. Yeah. Just disable Yoast. This actually brings up a point that I want to talk about with you guys. A couple things actually. Okay, and I wrote an article about this in the Intercom Help Center. Let me just go show you guys our Help Center. I'll get you the URL because I've been writing articles more and more. Go to my Help Center. So this URL, guys. I'm going to put this in your chat box too. It's very, very helpful, and it's getting improved all the time. It's got a bunch of articles with pictures and shit like that that help describe certain issues. So like this one in particular, troubleshooting your schema, how to tell what schema was actually generated by Project Supremacy versus, you know, other plugins. We get a lot of tickets where people are saying, hey man, you know, my schema's screwed up. I'm getting errors in the structured data testing tool or whatever. Or what they're doing is they're running the check inside of the plugin. Okay, so like for instance, if I go into this page, okay, and I go down to my SEO box and look at our schema, okay, and then I run a validator. Okay, all this validator is going to do is it's not going to give you a lot of information. It's just going to tell you whether it finds valid schema or not. Okay, but where you guys should really be going to look for errors, okay, and this will tell you if you have errors, but if you want to get the detail of what those errors are about, you should always be using the structured data testing tool. Now, this article talks about how to find whether V3 is writing the schema or not, okay? So let me show you quickly what that works like. So when you run a URL in the structured data testing tool, okay, it'll come back with H-entry, a lot of times, especially if you're using Divi, H-entry. H-entry is not something that's written by a Project Supremacy schema. And let me show you how to find the H-entry entry. You just go to the H-entry and you click on @type, and it will highlight for you where it's pulling this H-entry from, okay? And you notice this is microdata format, article ID equals post, blah, 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 okay? H-entry is not something Project Supremacy uses. If you ever see H-entry errors, number one culprit I would say is Divi, okay? Number two is Yoast, shit like that. That's not us. Here's how to find what is us. Here's an article schema, okay? And I'm gonna click on type, and it's gonna take me there. You'll notice, guys, here's the actual script for that entire piece of schema. Okay, there's the opening script and there's the closing script. But you'll notice we also have a commenting opening and closing comment tag, project supremacy schema.org. This piece of schema is by Project Supremacy. We're telling you exactly what we're writing to your site. If you don't see this, this opening and closing comment tag, we also have it for our meta descriptions in our open graph. Anything that Project Supremacy writes, we comment it to let you know that we're the ones that are writing it. So when you guys are troubleshooting what's going right or what's going wrong, you know where it's from, right? Now we do have the option to turn that off, and I'll show you that, but I don't turn it off. I leave it on. It's very, very helpful. But what you can do if you don't want to turn it off, or you only want to turn it on to troubleshoot as another option, is go over here. Okay, sorry there. I'm just closing up tabs. Supremacy v3 SEO settings. Okay, actually it's in dashboard. Okay, under settings, right here, disable HTML comments footprint. You can turn this on and that will hide these comments. Okay, anything that we're commenting. You can choose to have that on or off by default. Okay, so a good practice maybe for you guys is turn it off so that it's hidden. And then, but when you want to do any bug testing or troubleshooting, come back here and make sure this is turned on. Okay, and then it'll put the comments back in so that when you're in the structured data testing tool, you'll see the comments. So this is really just the whole, like if you press Control U on a page, this is the same shit. You see it in the structured data testing tool. The other thing, however, guys, is some people do have this off and they still don't see the comments. What that typically we found is it's because you're using some sort of minifying plugin or caching plugin that minifies HTML or CSS or JavaScript. Okay, and what a minification is, if that's even a word. Okay, it strips out comments. Okay, on its own. So even if you have Project Supremacy set to show comments, if you have like a caching plugin or a minify plugin, it will strip comments and it will take out all the spaces and shit in your JavaScript just to help with site speed. Okay, so just be aware that if you have this set to show but you don't see it, go look at your plugins and look for a caching plugin with a minify CSS or JavaScript or commenting option and turn that off to troubleshoot. And if you like it, turn it back on to re-hide it. Okay, so that'll just help you guys out. A couple notes on that, and that is in the help center, guys. Make sure you're using the help center to read those articles. They're super helpful. Alex, do visitors provide article ratings? If yes, how would you recommend doing that? That's exactly what I showed with all the settings and shit like that, Alex. Okay, that's been covered in quite a bit of detail, but I'll just review it really quickly here. Okay, natural reviews turned on means you want your aggregate rating to be built based on the visitors of your site either submitting a review or submitting a star rating. So yes, they do provide the article ratings in that scenario. If this is turned off, you have to build your aggregate rating to say, look, this article is going to be a 4.8 based on 100 votes. Kath, okay, now will you be able to set a minimum number of stars rating that will automatically approve in the new rating system? Yes, you can, Kath. So let's say rather than starting at 0, you want to start at a certain other number. You would just supply it in your aggregate rating. Okay, so like right now I told you guys if you're gonna put in allow users to submit ratings or reviews in your aggregate rating and you want to let it happen naturally, all you have to do is best rating and worst rating. But Kath, if you want to start off with kind of a falsification of that, the things you would add in would be okay, the rating value would be your overall score. So it would be something like 86.9, okay? Or it would be 4.4. Now, the difference here is if that page is going to be using star ratings only, you're going to want to use rating count. So let's say the rating count, let's say 50 people gave you a score of on average 86% or whatever, you know what I mean? Rating count and rating value would have to be added to that. So let me just show you what that looks like. So that's what your schema would look like in that scenario if you're using star ratings only for that page. If you're using reviews instead of star ratings, that would be switched up a little bit, okay? You would actually not have a rating count. You would instead have a review count, okay? And say your review count would be like 34 people submitted reviews and our average rating was a 4.8. And that's what that one would look like, okay? And then you would save that and it would display that until people started submitting reviews. Once people started submitting reviews, this data would be overwritten by Project Supremacy anyways. Does that answer your question, Kath? I know you asked that a while ago, but I'm just gonna move on. Is there a replay that shows how to build a crypto site? No, not quite. Sorry, man. Mike, you guys continue to blow my shit away with add-ons and features. Thanks, Mike. AJ, you already left, but if you do come back and watch the replay, your question was, what if you have a ton of Google reviews and use that? I guess you could clone your reviews over from Google if you wanted to, but I mean, these aren't Google reviews. The star ratings and aggregate ratings that are showing up in Google for our sites are literally all done through Project Supremacy V3, building an aggregate rating and then collecting reviews and supplying the rating. If you guys wanted to, you could go to your own sites and copy and paste your ratings from Google over, but they're just not the same thing. They're not related. Mike, you're building a WordPress site in WP localhost. Will PSv3 work and update using my desktop Apache server? I'm actually not sure about that one, Mike. You'll know right away when you install the plugin if it'll communicate with the panel or not, though. Walt, am I seeing any issues with Thrive themes and plugins? No, I haven't had any reports of anything with Thrive themes. Thrive's been doing pretty good. Walt, you had something called Locker in the upper right corner of one of your posts. Yeah, Social Locker, that's the right plugin. That's what I just use that to hide like specific content so that someone has to share my URL in order to get that content. AJ, you've left once again, but do you have a price range selected? You can have a price range selected, obviously. Actually, I think you have to. I think Google recommends that you have to have that now. Just like sure taking a shit kicking. Probably shared it on Webbies too much. So there you go. Okay. Rating 5 based on 2 votes with a price range of $100 to $1,000. That's just from price range schema. I'll show you that. And I believe that you actually have to, or you'll get an error if you don't have a price range now in that. Oh wait, it's local business. All right. Okay, price range, where the hell is my price range? No, I don't even know what schema I have on there, but yeah, it's, where is it? Let's unhide that and look for price. There, price range, okay. That would be price ranging. That's how you get that price range. Alex, is it better to have article rating for each blog article, or are all articles as one for schema? No, it's always better. Okay, in every scenario, Alex, it's always better to have specific schema for the page that you're building it for in literally every scenario. As soon as you start taking a one schema and applying it to multiple pages, you have to think about it like your schema is your metadata that Google reads. And if all your pages have the same metadata, what's the point of having multiple pages, right? You build separate pages on your site because you're dealing with separate topics. So your schema should reflect that in a really responsible manner. Kath, if a company offers multiple services, so you may have the same customer leave a review for several different services. If I set the prevent multiple reviews to yes, what is the level of granularity? Okay, well, preventing multiple reviews, Kath, isn't about, it's literally just like don't submit 2 reviews within a minute, right? Oh, okay, so you're asking how many. I'm actually not sure the timing of that. I'll find out for you. But what I would do in that scenario, Kath, is just leave it turned off because the reviews always come into your queue first, right? So if somebody sits there and submits like 13 reviews, you'll see it. And you'll be able to just like say, like right now I don't have any pending reviews, but you'll see it coming in. So turn it off, allow people to submit as many reviews as they want, but only approve the ones that you want and delete the other ones. That's the best way to handle it for now. But to answer your question, I'll find out from the guys what the timeline is. Alex, the only difference between a rating and a review is the best and worst setting. No, you might have to go back and rewatch the answer that I gave to Kath on this one. But a review has, like, people type words, right? Like, this is a review because you're typing your name in your review, and a rating is just the stars. So that's a big difference. Kevin, when is the lab bonus coming? It's gonna take a little bit, man. I honestly haven't even started that site yet just because I'm so busy. It is coming though. I keep talking because me and Terry are building that site, and I wrote him again today because I've tried to start like a few times, and even Terry's like, dude, like, come on. And my dog had to go to surgery last week. And I've got a whole bunch of excuses for you, Kevin, but no real reasons. I am going to start that right away. But I'll probably have to shoot a bunch of videos first. It's not going to be like a live over-the-shoulder webinar series. It'll be me sitting at my desktop building the site, shooting it. But I promise I will try to get to it in the next couple of weeks. I'm just slammed with everything. And then my dog got friggin' surgery, and just excuses. No excuses, just get it done. Alex, last time you mentioned that don't insert the rating schema on the homepage. Which schema is the best for homepage? Okay, the reason that we say don't insert the rating on the homepage, Alex, is because Google's just never going to show a star rating for your homepage. So like you can see on this site, this page has star ratings. Okay, this is all the same site, by the way. Okay, this is a site search for printer repair Edmonton. The homepage though will never, or I shouldn't say never, as far as up till today, Google will not show aggregate rating or rich snippets, shit like this, for home pages. So there's just no point in putting it there. That's why we don't put it on the home page. So your question then is, what is the right type of schema to put on the home page? You could still, if it's a local business, you can still put local business schema on your home page. Just don't include an aggregate rating because it won't show up, right? Or include the aggregate rating, but don't expect the stars to show up because they won't. Oh, look at that. My backup's just executed. That's it, guys. I got to the bottom of the questions here. So unless there's more questions, we'll probably leave it at a 90-minute webinar. Let me grab a drink. I'm going to mute myself and grab a drink of water. You guys type in your questions. If there's no more questions, I'll end it at that. I'll give you about 30 seconds though. Nothing? Come on. You guys, you got it all figured out then, and I love that. Okay, Chris, great question. I have some schema errors, but I don't know how they got there and how should I get them resolved? Okay. Number one, Chris, when you should always error test in the structured data testing tool. Okay, so like grab the URL that you know, whatever, you're probably finding errors because of the structured data testing tool, but there are other tools and shit that show you errors, but always do your troubleshooting in the structured data testing tool. Okay, then when you come to the errors, it'll show you on the specific page what the errors are. So let's go make an error. Okay, first of all, let's go make an error, and then I'll show you how to troubleshoot it. Okay, let's grab this guy, and then we're gonna go break it and then fix it. Okay, so here's our, we're doing star ratings only on this page. So let's run this through the structured data testing tool. Okay, so new test. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. Here's one with errors. Okay, so number one, load the schema with errors. Find out who's writing it. Always find out who's writing it first, because it's, guys, Divi writes schema. Okay, the Divi theme, and a lot of other WordPress themes will write schema to your pages, whether you know it or not. Okay, Jetpack might do it. Yoast is doing it. There's just a shit ton of other things other than Project Supremacy that are probably writing or could be writing schema to your site. So you need to know who's doing it. The easiest way to do it: load the schema, click on the @ type. It'll take you to the entry, and then read just above or below to start getting a hint of who's writing the schema. I've already covered how to tell if it's Project Supremacy. We wrap it in our comment tags. Okay, so check that first. Now, if it's not Project Supremacy, you're kind of on your own. I can't support, you know, some other person's product who's writing shitty schema to your site. You're kind of on your own there, but I can show you how to do it with Project Supremacy, which might help you how to do it with other tools. So load the schema, find out who's writing it, scroll down to the errors. Okay, we've got 3 errors. Okay, and then here we go. So here's one, the rating count 0, it can't be 0, okay, it can't be 0, and we failed to normalize the rating value is what they're telling you. So I know right away what the problem is here. So all we have to do now is go back to the schema builder for this particular URL and fix these errors. So we're on Printer Repair Edmonton Sales. Okay, let me close a bunch of tabs here. Okay, it's this particular page. Okay, so let's go to our schema builder, because we know Project Supremacy wrote the schema for it. And you'd probably want to backwards analyze it too, to be honest. Okay, we know it's a local business schema, so you probably want to go see, okay, how is the schema assigned to these pages first? Okay, so let's go to the website manager and look at the schema that was assigned for that site. We're going to backwards analyze shit. Okay, there it is, Printer Repair Edmonton. Let's go to the manage website, and we'll go over to schemas. Okay, and then we're going to go to that particular page, and it was the sales page. I know that, right? Sales and supplies, and we notice that we have homepage schema, local business. Okay, so now I know what schema to look for in the schema builder. H page, local business. So let's get over there. So now we'll go to our schema editor. Okay, and we're going to load up Printer Repair Edmonton, local business, H page. It's this one. Okay, and we know what our error is. Okay. Can't have a 0, can't have a 0, and it failed to normalize our rating value. Well, right away I know this. The reason why, guys, is because what I'm requesting on this page is for our reviews to actually be natural, but nobody's left a review or a rating on this page. Thus, we have all 0s, right? And I know that. So there's a couple things I could do to fix this. Number one, leave a rating and approve it, and that will instantly fix it. Okay, and I won't do that yet. Number two, do what I suggested to Kath earlier and supply data here until it changes. So let's go ahead and do that. So rating count, let's say we have a 3, rating value 4.8. I'll give myself a good one. And sorry, not a rating count, because oh yeah, we do have ratings on that page. So I'm going to change it to a, remember what you're doing on your page. Okay, on this one I'm asking only for star ratings. It's not an actual review, it's a ratings. So our rating count, we're going to say 12, And our rating value, I'm going to say like 86%. And then our review count, we're going to delete that because we're not dealing in reviews. Our worst rating is 1. Our best rating, we're going to turn that to 100 because we're working with ratings, not reviews. I'll save that schema. Okay, I'm going to rerun this. Oops. Hopefully that's saved. Just look. 1286. Rating count, rating value, best rating. Okay, save. So that should work. So you can check it in 2 places actually. Yeah, Alex, review. Typically, yeah, I think it's better for reviews to say a best rating 5 on a review. So if someone's writing a review, the best rating would be a 5, the worst rating would be a 1. But if it's just star ratings, it's better to go 100 to 1 so that Google displays it as a percentage from 1 to 100. And I'll actually dive a little bit more deeper into that and how we're handling that in the back end. It's pretty convoluted. I don't know if you guys remember, I posted that crazy ass math equation that we had to figure out, and I'll show you that in a second. But let me show you first of all, remember I've changed the schema. I'm going to just look to make sure my changes took. Okay, so I'm going to look at the page source code first, and then I'll look for JSON. Okay, and I see here's my so I still have a rating, so that didn't change. So what I probably have to do is reassign the schema, okay, because it didn't change. It should have. The other place I can look at it is right here, but I'm seeing it didn't change here either. So what I'll do is I'll go back and reassign that schema. I'll make sure I'm working on the right one as well. Printer repair Edmonton, local business, H page, aggregate rating default. Always make sure you're working on the right schema, guys, because if you go and do a schema change and then your page doesn't update, you're like, what happened? Okay, so that was the right one. I did save it, okay, and it didn't take the change, so I'm gonna go reassign it just in case there's like a cache issue or something like that. And this is good for you guys to see too, because sometimes you think things are gonna work 100% of the time, but then they don't, and you submit tickets, but it's good to see how to troubleshoot shit. I mean, we're not perfect. We don't get everything 100% right all the time. So I know you guys will have that expectation, and to be honest, so do we, but okay. So all I'm gonna do to reassign it is I'm gonna take it back off the page, and then I'm gonna put it back on the page. Okay, so I'm just basically reassigning it. Okay, and now I'm going to press Control F5 to delete the cache on this particular page. And then I'm going to press Control U to look at the source code, see if it changed. And then Control F JSON to look for it. Okay, there, now you see how it's changed. Okay, so I got it. So now I'll go to the structured data testing tool. I'll run this URL again. New test, run the test, and now it should be error free. There you go, 0 errors. Now, okay, and now it's showing rating count of 12, rating count of 86. Now let me show you, and Kath, to really test out your question, what happens if you start with a fake rating and then someone submits a real rating, okay? Because now I can press Control F5 on this page. We're still displaying 0, 0, 0, 0, but Google's seeing 86 and 12 because we faked it, right? So now let's actually submit a review. Let's give ourselves a 3-star, okay, to start with. Okay, thanks for leaving your rating. So now we have to go approve it. So we'll go to the dashboard, and there's our 3-star rating. I can edit it, I can approve it, or I can delete it. Let's approve it. No, Mike, go to app.projectsupremacy.com. That's the, and you'll see the little chat bubble. That's this place to support. Okay, so I've approved it, right? So now I'm gonna refresh this page again, Control F5. Now we should see 1 rating with 3. But we're seeing 0, 0. Why is that? Let's check it out. Let me go. There might be, okay, so when I'm seeing that I approved it here on the dashboard, but it's not updating on the page, I'm going to go check the other place that everything should sync up properly, guys, but I'm seeing that there's an issue. So what I'll do is go check the other one, just because like I know Project Supremacy inside out. I know where to go look for where things might have went wrong. You guys might not be as versed on that. So it's good to see this. I'll go into my reviews box. Okay, and there it is right there. And it is showing as approved. Let's just go unapproved. So I don't have any unapproved. So it should be showing. So let's load it back up. Control-C, Control-A, Control-V. Okay, and then I'll press Control-F5 again. Okay, so now it's still not showing. Now I have to do a little bit more troubleshooting. Let's go see how I have my reviews set up for this particular site. I have natural reviews. I have per page reviews. I have widget ratings mode on. So let's turn that off. Alpha we can turn off too. This is typically the setting I use, guys, by the way. Okay, and then let's go look at that actual page. I guess it's a page, not a post. So sales and supplies, let's edit that and see what our shortcode says. I'm going to take out the review widget. I don't need that in there. Let's update this again. Oh shit, sorry, I took out the wrong one. Sorry, I don't like working on the webinar. Hopefully you guys are, somebody said I'm missing a fuser. Hopefully you guys get getting use out of this to see how I troubleshoot shit though. Sorry, Raf, I missed something here. So used to display the review widget. Yeah, that's the one I want. I want stars only mode, so let's grab this guy. Except pop-up mode I want off, alpha mode on, stars on. Okay, let's update that. Okay, let's refresh that. Okay, we're getting there. Now see how it looks like shit? I know exactly why that is. Notice when I pasted the shortcode, guys, I pasted it on the visual tab. What ended up happening is it added some pre-tags. See these pre-tags? That is a bug that is going to be fixed so that that doesn't happen. I'm going to erase that appending pre-tags. It's safer to paste your shortcodes in the text tab instead of the visual tab. Okay, now let me update that. That's another bug we've definitely found. Refresh this. Okay. And the only other thing I'm not sure of is like, oh yeah, I forgot. I know why. I know exactly why now. Okay, in our design, I'm showing that it's a 3-star ratings in there, okay, but it's not saying you have 3 stars. Let me show you why. Now it's all making sense here. So in my customization ratings, okay, see, I have, this is default, but what I'm going to do is, if you click on this, guys, it shows that there's a shortcode that you can use, that squiggly line, num, close squiggly line. Okay, so instruction text, because I didn't have this set up, that's why it wasn't showing. Click here to review our stuff. Okay. Thank you message. Thanks for leaving a review. No ratings message. No rating has been left yet. Curly brackets, yeah. This little num will actually show the percent. So now when I go back over here, now I'll refresh it. Bam. Okay. Now everything's working. So that's how I troubleshooted everything. Now when I go back to this page, let's actually see if this got replaced, okay, with the actual review of that's supposed to be there. That's the last step. That's what we were trying to troubleshoot in the first place. Okay, Control F, JSON. And there it is. It did replace it. So now let's go back over here. Remember when we faked it, guys? That's what was showing, 86 and 12. We didn't change anything over in our schema. Remember, in our schema builder, we still have the initial one, the thing that Kath asked about. What can you start off with a fake one? And I said yes, you can. And when the real one starts coming in, it will replace the fake one. So let me show you that just to so you guys really understand. Okay, there it is, the rating value of 86 and 12. That was the fake one, and it was showing in the structured data testing tool. But now I've went in and added a real review, approved it, set everything up correctly. Let's run it again. God, I'm so glad you asked this question, because it really gets to show you a lot. 0 errors for local business, and now our rating count is 1 and our score is 50.5. So it did overwrite everything properly. Okay, that really ties everything back together. Now, there is one other thing I wanted to show you guys. Alex, you were kind of asking about, the best rating, the worst rating, and in reviews, typically, guys, I was saying, remember, reviews are written, ratings are stars, right? In a review or in a rating situation, a stars only situation, you want a best and a worst of 1 to 100, because you want Google, when they show the stars, to give a percentage, right? Not a score of 1 to 5. So we set our best and worst to 1 and 100. However, there's some crazy ass math that goes into that, okay? You might be wondering, well, I gave it a 3-star review and it ended up with a 51% score. How does that even make sense, right? Let me show you. In calculating an aggregate rating, you have to take each rating individually, okay? And we have to turn a star, like a 1 star, into a value, and then the 2nd star into another value, 3rd star, and shit like that. So it turns into a formula, okay? So our best rating, we're gonna represent that as 100 with BR. Our worst rating, we're setting it to 1, representing that with WR. And then our star rating, or what the rating that the user gives us, is gonna be anywhere from a 1, 2, or 5. We're gonna represent that with RV. And then our aggregate rating is just an average of what happens. Now, when we have our best rating set to 100 and our worst rating set to 1, and someone gives a 3-star review, the score of that is 50.5. Why isn't it not a 60? Here's why. You have to, our worst rating is a 1, okay? And that means if someone gives us a 1-star rating, it becomes a 1. But if they give us a 5-star rating, that has to be 100. But the math doesn't work out correctly unless you create this crazy ass formula, which you can see right here. And now this is gonna get really weird, okay? What we have to do is say, okay, the 1st star is worth 1 point. Well, what's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th stars worth? What we have to do is take our best rating, subtract our worst rating. That leaves us with a value of 99. Right? Because the 1st star is worth 1, but the remaining 4 stars in total are worth 99. So we divide that by 4 to get each individual star's rating count, right? So you can see a 5-star rating adds up to 100, a 1-star rating, oops, I must have changed something. Oh yeah, here we go, rating value 1. A 1-star rating is only worth 1. Here, let's do this, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So a 1-star rating is only worth 1%. A 2-star rating is worth 25.75%, right? Because 99 divided by 4 is 24.75. Is this confusing as shit to anyone? It doesn't matter, because really, I'm just showing you how it's scoring fairly. Now, you can change this. If you guys are really sticky and be like, no, I want 1 star to be worth 20. I want all stars to be worth 20. Set your worst rating to 20. That means your 1st star is worth 20. And each remaining star is also worth 20. You can also say, look, I want the worst rating that someone can give me to be a 50. And you're kind of forcing everyone to give you better reviews than they should, right? And then your 1st star is worth 50, your 2 stars are 62, 3 stars are 75, blah, blah, blah. So we had to build some crazy ass math into it to make it work, but don't even worry about it, guys. All you have to know is, all you have to do is set your worst rating and your best rating to whatever you want when you're dealing with star ratings only, and the math will take care of itself. It's already built into the plugin. Okay. And the easiest thing to think of is if you want it to be a nice round OCD number, make your worst rating a 20 so that your first star is a score of 20 and every other star is a score of 20. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm glad I got to go over all that shit. I actually shot a video for it and posted it and stuff, but it's nice to go over it again on the live Webby. And every time I go over shit, I typically get a little bit more clarity of thought and clarity of explanation for you guys as well. Any more questions, guys? We're almost at the 2-hour mark. I'll take a quick vape here and allow you guys to type in your questions. Apparently my mic really picks up when I'm vaping here. Check it out. Is that pretty loud? Bruce, wrong place for this. SerpTech. So what's going on with the Webbies? We're not doing SerpTech and local supremacy Webbies anymore for the time being, just because people were asking all the same questions. So it's all replays, Bruce. There's shit tons of replays in your members area. Or just, no, you're not unsubscribed. They're just off. We missed the last one, actually, to be honest. We're supposed to do it on the first Tuesday of each month. So, yeah, just post in the group, Bruce, for SerpTech stuff. Yeah. Mike, sorry, any toot on an initial PSv3 on a site? Do you mean tutorial? Any tutorial on an initial PSv3 on a site? Go through the Webbies. Bob's actually updated the spreadsheets, guys, in your Project Supremacy group. If you go to your files, the stuff that we were doing, that Bob was doing with SerpTech webinars, where every webinar is recorded and showing you like what happened when and what subjects and shit like that is here. Okay, he's doing that for PSv3 too. Go look there, Mike, because there was some good stuff where I was talking about the initial setup, but it basically goes like this. Okay, when I'm going to start a new site, I'm going to install Project Supremacy on it. I'm going to do any global settings. So I'll go to SEO settings. I'll install the plugins and shit that I want on it and stuff like that. You guys know how to do your initial setups. But I'll add my scripts, my Facebook pixel scripts. I always add a pixel script to new sites so that if I want to custom target all the people who have visited my site in the past on Facebook, I can run an ad to that custom audience. So I use the Facebook pixel script for that. I will set up my schema, I guess, for the pages that I know I'm going to have right away. But really, it starts with the project manager and the keyword research. It's a kind of hard question to answer, to be honestly, Mike, because it depends on what type of site you're building and what you want to do. But I mean, it's no different than any other site. You know, your keyword research can be done here, or keyword supremacy. Put that into your projects. Plan your site out using a project planner. What pages do you want to build? What optimization do you want to have? What keywords are you targeting? Set up your dashboard, your scripts good. Yeah, it's kind of tough to answer because there's not like an exact process. I guess migrate shit if you have shit. Let's just go through this. Settings. Yeah, nothing really there. I always like to have these on server fixes, have an unlimited memory limit and use an alternative API endpoint. If you don't know what those mean, just click on the tabs and you'll be able to read them. I always have those on. Let's go into, that's our dashboard. Let's go into our SEO settings. Let's see, redirects, I have them on. Post types, I don't really mess with this because I control everything with my individual page. SEOs, taxonomy, same thing. Yeah, man. I don't know what to tell you. Just, I honestly, man, Project Supremacy for me now is literally like the main plugin that I use to do almost everything that I need to do. Every other plugin that comes on is just a function that PS doesn't have, like adding tables or AMP, auto publishing to Facebook, shit like that. But I mean, my builds are so stripped down now. I know I talked about it a bit more in detail, Mike, but you'll have to go through those files with Bob's to. Raf, can we get rid of all the other microdata that does not belong to V3? Well, if we didn't write it, we can't get rid of it, right? Like if you're using a theme that is writing microdata, you have to ask that theme that question, like, hey, you know, hey Thrive themes, or sorry, hey Divi, how do I get rid of my H entry, right? Because we're not writing it, so we don't know how to get rid of it. You have to ask the person that's writing it how to get rid of it. The only thing that we do is we tell you if we write it or not, so that you know for a fact who's writing what. Alex, Open Graph, just shortly, because we did cover it in other webinars in quite detail. What Open Graph is a way to be able to control the title and the description and the image that shows up on Facebook when you share a post or page of your website, okay? And to give you a quick example, let me see. Oh, you remember. Okay, good. I don't have to go through it then. Yeah, Open Graph is just social sharing. So it shows up perfectly on Facebook. And for all you guys, this is important. Actually, I will go over this because I still see these support tickets coming in. For all you guys that set up Open Graph in Project Supremacy for a post or a page, and then you share it to Facebook, and it's still not what you have set in Project Supremacy, it's not Project Supremacy's fault. It's the cache of Facebook, okay? What it means is that Facebook already spidered your site, grabbed what they thought would be the best Open Graph data, and are sharing that. Now, if you don't refresh Facebook's cache, it's gonna show whatever it's in its cache, regardless of what you have set up on the site. So let me give you an example of that. Let me grab, where the hell was it? Oh, it might have been a post, sorry. Talking and trying to think at the same time doesn't work all good all the time. Here we go. Okay, so let's go to this one in particular. Okay, so this post is about the Big Bang Theory, doing a Bitcoin episode, blah, 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 doesn't matter. But here's the Open Graph, Facebook social, right? So I'm creating a title that I want and a description that I want and an image that I want to show up when I share it on Facebook. Okay, and here's a preview of the Twitter one and the Facebook one. So now let me do this, okay? Let me do big change. I'm gonna add that there, and over here I'm gonna add big change, okay? And I'm gonna click save. I'm gonna save that shit. And then now I'm gonna go share it on social media. Let me give you an example. So let's go into the Project Supremacy group. And I'm gonna share that URL, and it should say big change, right? Because I said for it to say big change, so it should say big change, right? But it won't. And why won't it? Because Facebook has already cached this. It says big change right there, but it's not showing right, okay? Let me show you how to make it show right away. Debugger, social sharing. Okay, so this URL right here, guys, is hugely important. Let me share it with you, this URL. When you want your social share to share right away, come in here, take the URL that you're having issues with sharing it, debug it, okay? And then scrape it again till it shows up the way that it's supposed to be. And here's the preview of what Facebook's gonna share. Okay, so there's big change, and then, well, what did I do in my description? It must have happened really fast in this instance. Let me take out my description's not showing up properly, I'm noticing. Okay, so I'm taking out my quotes. Let's update that. And I'm going to go to my debugger and I'm going to scrape it again. Boom. Okay. Now Facebook has refreshed its cache of what's going to be shared. Now, if I go share this link, okay, let me post this actually. Let me show you what you can do. If I was to post this now, it would post correctly. This one's posting incorrectly because it was the cached version. But even if you posted something that's incorrect, you can do this. Refresh the share attachment. And then when you refresh that share attachment, there you go. See it? It grabs the new shit. So there you go. Now it's fixed, even though I already posted it in the past. So that's just like a real tip for you guys that are doing any social sharing stuff, to be able to get your stuff to display correctly right away. Timothy, what does AMP Supremacy do? I'm not really going to cover that, man, on this webinar. I want to keep this to Pete. It's an AMP plugin. It makes your pages amped. You can Google that to find out what it does, or go to AMP Supremacy on WordPress. Just search for AMP Supremacy on WordPress and read what it does. It just basically amps your pages. Mike, can use F-card microdata info for contact info in the footer. If I'm running PSv2, will that be considered? I'm not sure what you mean by that question, Mike. To be considered. Well, will it be considered schema spam to use F-card microdata? No, I don't think so. I don't see why. I mean, it would be considered spam regardless of whether you were using Project Supremacy or not, right? I can't honestly answer that with full experience. I don't deal with microdata or F-card. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. But if you're not getting spam using it before Project Supremacy, you won't get spam using it after either. I'm gonna just delete that post. So people will be like, why the hell are you posting Bitcoin shit in Project Supremacy group? Kath, it's good to see troubleshooting. Oh my God, gold for how to get Facebook to refresh share attachment and force Facebook. Yeah, I know. That one, a lot of people were blaming Project Supremacy. I kept telling them that. They were like, dude, I've shared it and it's not sharing correctly. It's like, dude, I know you got to refresh your cache on Facebook. But a lot of people didn't know about this sharing debugger. So now you know. Pretty much at the 2-hour mark here, guys. Any last chance? This is the last time I'm asking for questions. I'll take the next little bit of questions. Otherwise, we'll end this webinar and post the replay. So I'll give you like 10 seconds to ask. No, Mark, I don't have anything that shows you how to build an entire website. No, sorry, man. We are, me and Terry Samuels are going to be building another affiliate site using Project Supremacy v3, and that is meant for a bonus for the people who bought the lab when we ran the lab promo. And the bonus was how to build a site from scratch using v3. And that is going to be a bonus for those guys, but that will also be offered for sale as a course as well. We'll make it cheap for you guys and a little bit more expensive for the public, of course. But we'll send it to you guys when it's done. But that's probably a few, like 5, 6, 7 weeks away, because I got to shoot a lot of videos. And then it'll be like live webinars and shit to watch how the site's reacting in Google and shit like that. Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Let's end it there. Hopefully you guys learned a lot again. One question before you go. Anybody on the webinar that does not have Project Supremacy v3, please give me a 1 if you're just checking it out. Just want to know. Or if everybody has it, I guess. It's good to know.
Well.
Big Lou. John. Hopefully you guys will be joining v3. What you guys saw was literally a small set of features compared to what Project Supremacy has. So if you guys do want to see everything that it has, go to that replay link that I shared you'll just see a whole bunch of shit on there. Or just go to v3.projectsupremacy.com. You'll get a more full idea of everything that it does. I think I have there you go. Okay, guys, we added this, a full list of features, and even this is no longer updated. There's just so much more that this thing does for one price. Yeah, the old one's cool. The new one's freaking killer, though. The new one was built on everything that was wrong or could be improved upon. The old one. Do founders get the lab for free? No, Mike, sorry. The lab's not our course. It's all the guys from the LCT group and Matt Diggity and a bunch of badasses in their fields teaching SEO in every element. So unfortunately, we cannot give that away for free. It's not ours to give. Is there a detailed video for the SEO part of PS? Yeah, on the sales page, if you go to SEO. Let me explain it this way, guys. When Todd and I initially ran Project Supremacy, we held a webinar for each of 4 functions, okay? So number 1, the SEO functions. This is a 2-hour webinar, only on the SEO aspects of Project Supremacy v3, okay? This is a 2-hour webinar only on the schema, the WP management part of v3. This is a 2-hour webinar just based on the schema elements of v3. Why are they 2 hours? Because each feature is so big and so awesome that it takes 2 hours to go through and fully detail it. I'll tell you this too, guys. Today's was a 2-hour webinar just based on the new updates, you know, and showing you guys how to build star ratings. This is a 2-hour webinar on reviews. So there's a ton of shit that you guys can go watch. And a lot of people complain, you know, oh, it's too much. I don't want to go through it all. And it's like, I don't know, man. The short version is it does WordPress management, schema, SEO, backup, security, tracking. It does a ton of shit. You know, buy it for a month, use it. If you don't like it, refund it. But having a 2-hour webinar to teach it and explain all its features is just, most people really, really like that, right? And it's hard to please everybody. So for anyone that doesn't want to spend the time watching a 2-hour webinar to learn a feature, then just buy it, use it, and figure it out on your own. That's unfortunately the best I can say for you. I'm not trying to be an ass. It's hard to please everybody.
Yeah. You can definitely figure it out on your own too. You know, I mean, it's kind of point and click, and a lot of it's self-explanatory as well. So I'd say schema is probably the most intense learning curve, though, just because it is what it is. And the project planner, I would highly recommend. So that SEO tab up there, the project planner is something that a lot of people overlook and don't understand the power of the project planner. And that was in version 1, and we've just kept, it was so awesome in version 1, but we've made it better and better and better. We still improve on that project planner a lot as well. It really is phenomenal what it can do if you understand it. Mike says it's a brain twister. Can be a little bit. That's why you really need to watch Herc explain the project planner in detail, and this is the perfect webinar for that.
No, it's easy, man. You know what's hard here? I'll tell you like this, guys. It's the same thing. Project planner is very, very parallel to the schema builder, where the schema builder is now our favorite thing. It's only a little bit hard to learn how to use it. The using it part is easy. It's the conceptual, like how to use, like schema. Okay, I could teach you how to use the schema builder, but you still have to know what the proper types of schema to use are, right? And the project planner, I could teach you how to use the project planner, but you have to know how to do good SEO. Does that kind of explain it? I mean, the tools are. Yeah, they require a little training and a little art. They require more training in art than science, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
learn that project planner, and you will absolutely get more rankings for more keywords than you ever thought possible.
Yeah, and you'll never go back to building another post or page or website without the project planner again. Trust me on that, guys. Once you've got it figured out, how to do keyword research, how to organize your sites, your posts, your pages, you will never go back. I just can't. I don't even know how to do a page anymore without it. Well, I do, but it's stupid to say that. But it's so fast and efficient and quick to do it that way. You won't turn back. Once you got the project planner figured out, you're just like, oh yeah, baby, this thing's awesome.
It's in the plugin, Bruce.
John, the pricing is on the page for V3. Right here on Get Started. There's your pricing options. Yeah, that's the idea, Alex. We want to make it hard for you to divorce us. You nailed that one right on the head. That's absolutely what we're going after. We want it to be stuck with you. You're like, ah, shit, I can't cancel that subscription. It's too good.
Can't quit you. All right, guys. Well, I think that's a wrap. We have busted the 2-hour mark once again. But that's cool. As long as you're asking questions, we're answering them.
Yeah, that last one, I think you already answered. Where's the project planner? It's in your plugin under product management, project management. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Where does replays at?
On webinars. Here's the replays link again, guys, to the entire audience.
Yeah.
But replays are right here. Oops, I don't have it loaded yet. Oh, there we go. Okay, so these ones are just, excuse me, the top 2 are Facebook live feeds I did for beginners. Still great to watch, okay? Actually, for someone that asked, how do I build a site? These are great to watch. And then these are the replays down here from each of the weeks, and today's will be on tomorrow. Hey, what's the other company you're canceling, Alex? He said he's canceling for V3, something else. I love hearing that. I love when people switch from one product to ours because they like it more. Just curious. Whatever. OMG Command Center is taking a hike. You have no idea how happy that makes me, man. Is this just WordPress? Yeah, this is a WordPress manager and plugin, but John, it does, I mean, the plugin's only going to work on WordPress, right? WordPress does plugins, it's a plugin. The only other thing that I would say that this would be useful for outside of WordPress is you can still use our schema builder to build crazy good schemas. Okay, so you can come in here, build the schema, and then like I showed, you would just render the schema that you built and copy and paste that over to HTML sites. So literally, guys, I will tell you this, and the last thing I'll say before I let Todd close it out, the price of the schema builder alone is cheaper than the next best schema builder on the market. Meaning if you don't buy this for any of the WordPress features, you just buy it to build and copy schema, the price on this is still cheaper than Schema App, which is the next best schema builder. They're $297 a month for unlimited site, or for, I forget what it was, $297 a month. Our most expensive price point is $127. So just the schema alone is worth the price. Okay, Todd, that's it for me, guys. Thanks. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, that's it for me too as well, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again next time. Same place, same channel. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.